Lawmakers here in Germany have rejected a controversial bill on immigration reform. The draft legislation was proposed by the conservative opposition CDU party, but it sparked outrage because it would have only passed with the support of the far-right Alternative for Germany party. It would have seen the end of family reunification for some migrants, given border police extra powers to assist in deportations, and it would have made limiting immigration a government policy. But the content of the bill was almost overshadowed by the controversy stemming from the conservative CDU's push for the vote, despite knowing it relied on the AfD's support. This would have been the first time in post-war German history that federal legislation were approved with the backing of a far-right party breaking a political taboo. For more, let's bring in DW political correspondent Giulia Saudelli. She's standing by for us in the German parliament, the Bundestag, where that vote just happened. Giulia, the bill failed to pass, with a majority in the German parliament voting against it. Tell us more.
Yes, it was a long and very convoluted day here in the German parliament. The debate on this law before the vote was interrupted for a few hours as parties tried to talk to each other and tried to find a way not to go to the vote. We saw the parties that are the government parties, the Social Democrats and the Greens, try to say that they could postpone the vote, bring it back to the parliamentary commissions and try to find an agreement with the conservative CDU so as to not lead to approving this vote with the far-right AfD. But ultimately, when it came to the vote, it turned out that the law was not passed, and it looks like, and we've heard that confirmed also by the leader of the CDU, Friedrich Merz, that some members of his party did not support the vote in the end. And this is quite a blow for Friedrich Merz and for his party, as this is a law that they had brought forward, and to see it fail like this is definitely not the result that he had wished for.
A heated debate inside Parliament, you mentioned it there, but outside as well, and even former Chancellor Angela Merkel chimed in.
Yes, indeed, and the focus of this debate is the fact that there is pretty much a long-standing taboo in Germany coming from the traditional parties within the German Parliament not to work together with the far-right AfD, approving laws in the Parliament, but also at the government level, also at state level. They say they do not want to work together with the AfD. And this would have been the first time that a law would have been approved in the German Parliament with the support of the far-right since World War II. And we've heard many people speak up against this possibly happening, including the former Chancellor Angela Merkel, who is from the Christian Democrats, the CDU party, the party of current Chancellor candidate Friedrich Merz, saying that she found it unacceptable that Merz was opening up to the possibility of voting together with the AfD. And it could well be that Merkel's words may have had an influence on some of the members of parliament of the CDU who did not vote in favor of this law.
That was political correspondent Giulia Saudelli. Thank you so much. And I'm pleased to welcome here in the studio Christoph Heubner from the International Auschwitz Committee. So great to have you on DW.
Hello.
Thank you so much for making the time.
Good to be here.
You represent, or your organization represents, Holocaust survivors. How do they feel about what happened in the German parliament this week?
Well, obviously, their view to the parliament and to Germany has darkened after this decision on Wednesday, when the first time a conservative party from the middle of society voted together and took into account a common vote with the far-right extremist AfD party. In this party, there are people who call themselves National Socialists, there are anti-Semites, there are people who want to change the so-called memory of the culture of memory in Germany. And it was absolutely unacceptable for survivors of the Holocaust that these people get into any influence in the midst of the German parliament. And well, even if this vote failed today, it won't push away the results of Wednesday, which are a big, big change in German politics.
Exactly, and the AfD hailed that moment on Wednesday when that motion passed with their support as the beginning of a new era. The fact that now this law, this bill, did not pass, does that change anything about the shift in politics that you seem to be observing?
Well, it may change, but it won't change the impression of the AfD that they have a half-open door to the parliament, to other parties, to govern this country sometime, like in Austria we have the situation today and in other European countries. So there is a big change, and it will take a long time to win back confidence and the trust of people who look into Germany with remembrance and with confidence as well. They have, survivors of the Holocaust have many relations to people in Germany, to groups within the churches, to trade unions, to young people, and they always thought that in Germany there's one thing very, very clear, that far-right extremists never would have any chance to get an open door by a conservative party, by a left-wing party, by a Green party, or by any party from the democratic place itself.
I want to talk about remembrance culture in a second, but first I want to look at the person who opened that door, as you say, Friedrich Merz. What message does it send that he willingly put forward legislation knowing that he could only get it through with the support of the far right?
Well, he misunderstood his role. And he thought that that's a time of presenting himself as a big leader, a personality, and he failed with a crash. And obviously, within the party, with his own party, that didn't happen kind of debates about this step. Was it a good step at this special time? Was it a good step to cooperate, in fact, with a far-right party? He failed in his politics and his personal position, and this is a big, big challenge for him. I think that tonight he will not have a good sleep. He will be very unsatisfied with himself, hopefully, as well.
The timing of this is, of course, striking. This week, Germany was commemorating the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. Where do you think German remembrance culture stands in light of the far right gaining so much traction?
Well, you see, I've been in the parliament on Wednesday at lunchtime. There was this memorial meeting of the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. All the people sitting together, even the AfD, clapping hands to one of the survivors of the ghettos in the Ukraine and of the Holocaust. And there's not, from my point of view and from the point of the survivors, Auschwitz is not to be celebrated on one day. It's to be lived all year with what it meant to be. There has been a very good quote of a Jewish, German, American later historian, Fritz Stern. He once said, history didn't know what we know today, how things develop, how things walk into from one point to the other and end in a horrible situation. And we should be very aware how these steps are. And at the moment, we have hopefully learned a lesson that one step could destabilize democracy in a quite direct way.
Christoph Heubner of the International Auschwitz Committee, thank you so much for taking the time and speaking to us today.
Thank you very much.